Second part that made my weekend so awesome, man. These Pittsburgh Steelers, baby, moving on and moving on up, baby. 4-0. I love it. Big time win, man, against the Philadelphia Eagles. Keystone State battle, state champs. Steelers win 38, Eagles 29. And man, it was a roller coaster game. First off, shout out to the Steelers, man. They finally scored more than 30 points. We finally saw that. That was good. First time they did that in 23 games. So that was huge. They did revert back though. We had a no turnover streak going for one game. We did lose that streak.
We were close.
We were close, but that streak is ended now. So hopefully we can start the streak back up next week. Once again, Steelers also was it 61 games now with at least one or more sacks in a game. We saw that happen as well. What am I missing? Ben moved up on, I forgot what list it was. He moved up on one of these lists. I'm drawing a blank on it. I know he's in line to have something else against Cleveland if he gets a win.
Something about Elway, I think. Yeah, most wins with one player on one team.
Yeah, because that's why Brady isn't included, because Brady has left New England. And now he's in Tampa, so he's technically not with the same franchise. Otherwise, we know that Brady has had, I think, like 240-something wins.
Yeah, you'd probably have Brady in that mix. You'd probably have Favre in that mix, too. Mm-hmm. Breeze was on Chargers and Saints, so you'd have certain players that just disqualify themselves.
They weren't staying with the same team. So Ben has moved up in that regard. And then the rookie Chase Claypool becomes, however many historical things we can throw to first player to score 4 touchdowns as a rookie, first rookie to do this. Now, the list goes on and on what he was able to do in this past game. But ultimately, man, I was impressed, man, because first off, through the adversity, they found a way to win. We talk about just good teams finding ways to win. 4-0 is 4-0. I don't care how you slice it. We're going to nitpick them, and as you should, because you can't get better if you don't critique certain things. But finding a way to win, that's the biggest thing to me. You got to find a way to win. They did that. Now, was it perfect? No. Offensively, defensively, special teams, they all had issues. But I just thought as a whole, man, they executed when they needed to execute it. And ultimately, man, that's how they were able to get this win, man. But that was my initial thought process on it, man. I thought that, man, just gritty performance, find a way to get the job done. You did that. I like it.
That's what I was thinking too, man. I'm just good to get out of there with the win. I thought we actually probably played better than what the score indicated. Or I know, would we end up winning by? It was like 8 or 9.
Yeah, by 9. Yeah, 29.
I don't know. I know it was 31-29, I think, coming down the stretch.
It was 31-14 for a while. Then it was 31-29 going into that last touchdown that Claypool got. Because they missed the field goal. They went for 58-yard field goal? Yeah.
I just felt like we played better than that 31-29 late in the game score. That's kind of what I felt like. There was some calls that didn't go our way, some unfortunate situations that in the second half, it was like Wentz, they just got the ball and they scored on us. But we came back and we would have a drive going, but then something fluky would happen. The whole Chase Claypool pass interference they call back, and literally the next play we get the fumble. So there was like 2 or 3 instances where we got backed up as we were driving and making good plays. And we got backed up to like a 3rd and 17, a 2nd 17, 3rd and 22, something like that, where it's just like, all right, let's get out of this series. But then the fumble happened. Yeah. And I don't know. I just felt like we played better than what that 31-29 score was. But then we eventually scored at the end with the clutch drive and everything.
Well, as we're talking about the offense, I think the biggest thing was this. They didn't execute well in terms of sustaining these crazy drives, right? And just being clean, no penalties, no turnovers, and like that. But what they did do really well was the explosive plays. We saw Ray McCloud big time reverse. We saw obviously Claypool have 3 or 4 just splash pass plays. I think that was the biggest difference. And sometimes you have to be able to do both. And that's, for me, that's why I say I was still impressed, because you look at the Steelers 2 weeks ago versus the Broncos, right? Versus the Texans. And we said in the second half, man, they had long 7-8 play drives that were very efficient. No splash, right? We didn't get the one just dagger plays, but they executed, methodical, kill the clock, score. This time, it was the opposite. They weren't able to get those long, methodical drives going because, first off, they weren't able to run the ball, but the thing was this, man, when you're trying to run some of these slower developing plays that the Steelers run, the counters and the powers that we see them do, where they're pulling the backside tight end, pulling the backside guard, they work against fronts that aren't aggressive, that aren't attacking. With Philly's D-line, the way that they play, they're not playing for a gap. They're not playing for a run fit. They're just disrupting. And then from there, their linebackers and safeties are just coming down and just cleaning up. So that's why trying to run those style of plays, you would have to go back to the more traditional, just line up and blow them off the ball. Don't try to misdirection them in that vein, because they were just too disruptive. They're picking off pullers. They're hitting one puller and he's knocking off somebody else. And that's why the running game never really got going. But like I said, man, the thing that the Steelers were able to do were hit the dagger plays, the splash plays. When you're doing that as a defense, that will break your back. You rather a team have to execute 7 plays in a row, 9 plays in a row, 10 plays in a row, because odds are they can't do that for the whole game. But a team could play bad and hit 3 or 4 shots downfield, and that kills you. And that's what I thought the Steelers did on offense. That's why even when you look at Ben's numbers, efficient from a passing standpoint, it wasn't a lot of incompletions, obviously no turnovers in that regard. And I thought that, man, he took the shots that he needed to take. But ultimately, man, I just thought as a whole, the offense, where they were able to just create splash, good job by Matt Canada and by Randy Fichtner in terms of the play call. And the reason I say both is because, let's be real, we know Fichtner's the OC and he called the majority of the calls, but some of the wrinkles in terms of the pre-snap shifts and motions that you're seeing, a tackle on one side, shift to the other side from unbalanced. You're seeing sets where it's 5 wide receivers, no running backs, no tight ends, or you're seeing running back out wide, receiver in the backfield, the sweeps, the jet motions, like all of that. That's more of your college stuff. That's more of the smoke and mirrors element of it. And we see, like I said, you see that a lot in college. And the thing is, as a defense, you hate it because it kills all your rules. I mean, on paper, you're supposed to be guarding a tight end, but when that's a receiver there, you're like, whoa, and then he's in the backfield. Now your rules are you're trying to adjust those on the fly, and that really puts you in a bind. That's the Matt Canada element of it. Now, with Randy Fichtner, like I said, the overall game plan is his. He's making the calls. He's saying what they need to do and stuff like that. So that's why both of them get praised. Very similar to what we're seeing on defense with Keith Butler and Mike Tomlin, how they kind of operate together in that vein. So I thought both of them deserved it because, let's be real, if the offense looks bad, we're quick to blame Randy Fichtner, right? No one ever talks about Matt Canada if the offense looks bad. No one ever talks about the personnel if the offense looks bad. Offense looks good. We never praise Randy Fichtner. We're trying to find other people to praise. Oh, let's praise Matt Canada. Oh, let's praise Claypool. Oh, let's praise Big Ben. Give the man his respect, baby. God, dog, if he coached well, he coached well, baby. Give him the respect. Don't bash him all these other times, and now when he does do good, we want to act like we don't see that. So for me, I did see that. I thought that was important, man. And another thing that was really impressive, and we're not even talking about Claypool and Ben just yet, but another thing that was really impressive was the O-line. We talked about coming into this game, the key matchups on both sides of the ball, where which O-line could minimize that other unit's D-line. Steelers did a phenomenal job of that, man. Ben sacked once, only hit twice. You look at the Eagles' offensive line, we said they were banged up, and we felt that the Steelers had the better advantage in that vein, but they dominated that. 11 QB hits, 5 sacks. That was a big-time difference. And honestly, when we get to the defense side of the ball, those 11 hits and 5 sacks definitely saved the Steelers defense from giving up more points. It's not even a debate about that. It was guys running wide open.
He said it on the broadcast. Did you hear it whenever Tuitt got the sack? He was like, Tuitt getting this sack literally saved the touchdown. Yeah. I couldn't see it. They didn't show it, but yeah. Well,
so for me, and just a little transparency, I was gone for the weekend, so I had to initially listen to it on the radio broadcast. So initially hearing it, you don't hear it or you couldn't see it, but then go back and watch the tape, watch the All 22. That's why I tell you I'd rather watch the All 22, which is like the coach film, so you can see everything. And literally, man, of those 11 QB hits and 5 sacks, man, it was close to 50% of those plays were dagger touchdowns, guys running wide open, nobody close. That was making me nervous, but we'll get to that. Stick us to the offense, man. Stick us to the offense, though. Like I said, man, I thought the O-line played well. And then from there, man, Ben and Chase Claypool, I thought Claypool is really starting to emerge a lot more. Obviously, Deontay Johnson getting hurt opened the door for him.
Yeah, he can't stay healthy.
He definitely opened the door for him, man. And we saw him definitely excel in a more expanded role, especially from a splash play X factor element of it. And obviously with Ben, I just love the communication. Some of the stuff were on RPOs where it's run pass options. You're really just reading the box. And from there, it's like you saw them miss on some with not just Claypool, with other receivers, but then the majority of the time, though, it's like, that's a good check right there. You're getting them in the right call right here. Even though it's not flashy, that's good. Oh, man, okay. Possession down, third down play. Boom, executed. Man, I think Ben was perfect on third downs. I think it was 13 or 13 or something crazy like that. Like, that was, to me, was super impressive. Like, I know what most people, they want to see just deep passes with Ben. For me, I'm more impressed right now with the fact that he has 1 interception on the season, man. I think he's 10-1 touchdown interception ratio.
Yeah.
To me, that is super impressive because we talked about how in the past Ben turns the ball over at a gross rate. Like, this is bad. But in this scenario right here, man, this season, he's been operating super efficiently. And I don't know if it's because of the elbow. Maybe he's still getting used to it or he doesn't want to take as many chances. But I think that he's playing just really good football right now.
I can't take it, dude. I can't take it. I'm seeing too many things online. Have you seen it?
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Thank you for saying that and giving Ben the proper respect.
What, he's not getting respect?
Dude, it's...
Are you following Colin Cowherd again?
No.
Jay Glazer? Who is it?
This is appalling.
Is it Rob Parker? Is it FS1? Anybody from FS1, do not follow him, unless it's Debo.
This was a tweet that was sent out from an ESPN employee.
Oh, gosh.
I couldn't believe I couldn't believe this. It is so wrong. It is so wrong. Did you hear this?
No, and I'm nervous to see which ESPN employee because it's only a couple of them that I really like.
I don't know. I wasn't going to name drop or anything.
Is it guy, male or female?
Female. Do you know who it is?
Is it Mina Kimes?
Yeah.
Yep, I figured it was. Yeah, I saw the stat. I do remember the tweet now. Yeah.
The stat?
I saw the one where she was talking about like him downfield throwing his like watching Ben Simmons and the Sixers offense or something nonsense. Yeah.
I could not believe I saw this tweet. It's wrong on so many levels, dude. Like it's appalling to me because one, you're saying Ben is not taking any shots downfield, and if you were watching the game, if you've watched him this season, he is definitely taking shots. Mm-hmm. He's overthrown these shots, and he's shown he's got the arm strength, whatever. And actually, he's hit on the Claypool one in what was that? Is that the Broncos game, the 85-yard one?
Yeah.
I think that's the longest deep throw of the season. I was reading someone was saying that. Next, we have just even last game. If you add the one with Chase Claypool toe tapping on the sideline, you add the other one where they call it back with the crappy pass interference call.
If they're calling it back, technically it doesn't count. Dude, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Just even if you're watching the game, Ben is taking his shots down the field. Yeah. Ben Simmons doesn't take any shots. So this is why this
shot at all. He'll just sit there and they won't even guard him.
This is why this tweet doesn't make any sense. If anything, Ben even said this. You know, I'm just missing on the throws, but I'm missing long. Maybe my arm's back better than ever. Maybe the doctor threw something in there. So he's taking the shots. Number two, I think you're implying by saying that by Ben not taking as many long shots as he has in the past, that it's detrimental to the team. Yeah. Because what NBA people, anyone that watches the NBA, they say Ben Simmons, by him not taking deep shots and spreading shit out.
Right, they close in on Embiid and those guys. Absolutely.
Dude, Ben's like a Jedi master out there. He's picking his throws, just picking apart the defense, orchestrating offense.
Well, and that's the thing. And I will say this: I do like Mina Kimes. I think she does, for the majority of the time, do a good job. I think what she was trying to say in the analogy she used, it made it really misleading. If you want to talk about his deep ball accuracy and throw that into question, that's fine. And he's like you talked about, he said he's been overthrowing.
I don't think anyone could disagree with that.
Right. But to compare him to Ben Simmons, that analogy is what makes it less about you having constructive criticism of his deep ball and more so making it like a shot or like disrespect to her. And that's why I think she messed up at, because I definitely saw that tweet.
Well, because even if you were to just say he's missing on the deep throws, I don't care about that, especially when he's overthrown them. Like, he's not making bad misses. Yeah. It's a good thing, in my opinion. I think he's going to work that out as the season goes.
And I think that's the thing. Like, if she wanted to just simply put, like, he's not as efficient, you know, on the deep ball, the passes 40 yards or deeper, that's one thing. And like you said, the facts back that up. He's even said it. We agree with that. But it's just how the analogy she used is very misleading. It's very counterintuitive. It's counterproductive to, like, I think what she was trying to get to. And sometimes, man, when you're in the national spotlight, man, it's evaluated a lot harder. We're not going to sit here and act like we haven't said certain things that if we were under a microscope and had the eyes how she has, that people want to be over here like, yo, how could you say this, man? Y'all don't know this. Like, it comes with the territory, man.
It was disrespectful. I could not believe it, dude. Here's the problem, I think, is just that people were agreeing with it. Like, it was just, oh, yeah, well, whatever. And then I think she brought up some stat afterwards, like he's 32nd in his yards per attempt in the league right now. Like the whole thing just lacks complete context to me.
The context, like I said, it was misleading. But you know what it kind of reminded me of, though? You see how upset you got and how furious this situation is? You're like, man, she disrespecting your guy, huh?
I'm really...
And because you watch your guy on the regular, you're like, bro, like, you don't know, like, this is what's going on. You know who feels like that sometimes?
Who?
Buffalo Bills fans when you talk about Josh Allen.
Listen.
Holy cow. Boy, if you don't see how hypocritical you are right now, you mad with Mina Combs about that. The stuff that you said about him,
the only thing that you can get on me about, last year, and I said I was wrong. I admitted wrong. She's not going to admit she's wrong, though. She's coming back at these people that are saying that she's wrong.
But the thing was this. She just brought in facts to kind of back up the analogy, because this is the thing. What she said wasn't wrong. The analogy she used was wrong. Bro, you just said from a deep ball standpoint that Ben's been overthrowing. You said these are good misses, but they're still misses nonetheless.
No, but she said it's like Ben Simmons. Like it's not.
No, but that's the thing. I said the stat she brought up isn't wrong. The analogy she used is wrong. If she used any other analogy than Ben Simmons, I think it's received drastically different. But because of the Ben Simmons analogy and us knowing basketball and knowing that, hey, that's not good, that's bad, that's why for us, we carry it over and say, well, this is a terrible tweet by her. If she takes out the analogy itself and just has the tweet as is, it's not a bad tweet. She's not wrong. You still just agreed with it.
No, I did agree, but I still said it's lacking context though completely, because that's almost it still comes off as a shot where Ben's playing great.
It comes off as a shot because
just say Ben's playing great. That's all I want you to say. Huh?
Well, you want him to say that, but people want you to say that about Josh Allen. You wouldn't even say that.
I've said
it took you forever. It was like pulling teeth, bro. Come on, stop it. Don't lie to yourself.
What he's done this year, I can't deny.
He did it last year too. Don't lie to yourself. It just wasn't to this level.
Not like this year.
But he was still already taking that step forward. Every game last year.
I was waiting for him to do it in primetime against the Steelers.
Bro, he did it in primetime against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. It gets no bigger than that. He did it on Sunday Night Football against the Steelers. He did it in the playoffs against the Texans. Like, we saw this.
That's the problem with the Texans.
Like, he did it in the playoffs against the Texans. They lost in overtime on the same way you want to pull up the Chase Claypool OPI. We talked about how they had a terrible illegal block in the back on an old lineman peeling back and blocking a dude. That was a terrible call. That was the difference in the game. Otherwise, they're kicking the field goal and winning.
He played bad in the second half.
He did not play. He's the reason they came back.
No, they were up 16-0.
No, remember they were up.
I know he did have a good.
And then he brought them back.
He did have a good drive.
Yes, but so you can't say that. You love clutch too.
No,
you love clutch too. You wait clutch over a whole game. You told me that already.
I wouldn't consider his Texans game clutch. I will consider his regular season this year clutch. He's been playing good, dude. I have nothing bad to say.
The same way you get frustrated about Ben, just understand that's what you do as well. Okay,
I'm a reflective guy. I'll consider all that.
Just think about it.
I will consider all that, but I just wanted to say Ben's getting disrespected right now, and I can't take it.
So it was just Mina though, right? I didn't see anything else. I just remember seeing Mina, and that was the only tweet. Is that the only one you saw?
I haven't turned on the TV.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't consider him getting disrespected. I just think, like I said, for her, bad analogy to put in the tweet. Other than that, though, from a national standpoint, I've been seeing people, from my perspectives, they either just saying that Ben's been efficient, Ben's doing his job. They haven't said that Ben's lit it up, because the problem is this, man. It's hard from a national standpoint to praise Ben when you see the other guys like what Russ has been doing. Or we talked about how Josh is having one of those type of seasons. Like, they are doing a lot more of the flashy, whereas Ben hasn't needed to be flashy. Ben has just been very efficient and very, very good. But from a national standpoint, national people like flash.
That's what I'm saying. It feels like a knock then on Ben.
It's not a knock. It's just personal preference. Some people love to see this guy go crazy in the game, where other people want to see, let me see this methodical, just super efficient, just boom, 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 making the right decision, get people in the right call. It's personal preference, man. I feel like if this wasn't Ben that we're talking about, and we were going to compare what Ben is doing this year to what somebody else is doing at another team, I don't think you feel the same way. I think because it's Ben, though, that's why you feel a little bit more, and it's a little slighted towards you. Whereas in the grand scheme, Ben is doing absolutely everything he needs to do for this team to win, and that's why they're winning what they're winning. But in terms of, if you're trying to just compare Ben quarterback play by itself with no team element of it, just Ben by himself, to the other quarterbacks in the league by himself, it's not the same. That's why he's not being talked about in the same vein as some of these other guys. That's the thing with it, man. Like, it's not a knock on Ben. It's just he hasn't done the crazy flashy. That's it.
Doesn't need to happen.
It's not a knock though. Like I feel like you view that as a knock though.
Bringing up that he's not throwing it deep, or maybe Ben isn't the same, right? That's when it's a knock to me. Where, dude, if you're watching, he looks better than ever, man. He's like a Jedi Master, like I said.
Listen, are you gonna let one tweet ruin what everybody else is doing? Just one?
I don't know, man. Wait, what do you mean by that?
I'm just saying we're talking about the only person that I saw, the only person that you've seen thus far was just Mina Kimes. Nobody else, right? That's all I'm saying.
I saw a lot of people in the comments agreeing with her. That's what I got a problem with.
But I mean, let's be real about it. The people in the comments, you know, the people in the comments are. Don't do that now.
And I have seen people, I think in general, like knocking Ben's deep throw, or saying like, "Oh, is he at a new part in his career where he's only throwing short, or he can only throw short?" That's just false.
Well, as it stands right now, just from a accuracy standpoint, you already said it. It's not saying that it's because of an elbow or of a decline or whatever people want to say. That's not the case. But on paper, his deep ball hasn't been as accurate. That's not false. Now, that's what we talk about. Stats by themselves don't tell the whole story. They tell a piece of it, but you got to actually read the book to see that, it's not that he isn't accurate. It's not that he's this or that or that. It's just this. But he's great in this, and this. That'll come.
Well, and then you got to consider too, like I even said yesterday, the one to Juju, what was it, on the left side, I think. He dropped a dime there. That got called back because of the illegal man downfield. The other one to Claypool on the right sideline, like those were dimes. His other misses, he just overthrew. But I don't know, dude. I'm seeing Ben playing a good game out here.
This is my thing. That's why we always say it's the difference between watching highlights and reading the stat book versus watching film. Now you're seeing it. Now you're on the other side. And now you're upset about it.
I told you I'm reflective, so I might proceed with my takes going forward.
Do you really think Mina Kimes is over here watching every single game that Ben has played right now this season? No. The same way you haven't watched every single game that this person has played or that person has played. It just is what it is, man.
Don't send out that tweet. It was a tweet that was felt very definitive. Like, yes, I have the answer here. No, that's the wrong answer.
Just if you take out the analogy, that's the biggest part. The analogy part, and then you give it the tweet a little more context, and you're good.
I think it was just trying to be funny. I didn't think it was funny. That's what it is.
Man, to each his own, man. She's a Russell Wilson guy. Russell Wilson girl. So if she's talking quarterbacks, you really think that she's viewing Big Ben in the same breath of Russell Wilson as it stands through 5 games? No. Not at all.
The media is trying to take us out, man. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. It's a narrative warfare out here, dude.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
You know the thing that's funny to me?
What?
I love how Steeler fans always talk about they don't want drama. Well, no, wait, let me go. Let me go because you've been going. Let me go. You Steeler fans, and you have said it numerous times. I don't want the drama. I don't want all these narratives. But yet you come in here week after week with the new narrative. Oh, we the underdogs. They disrespecting us. Oh, Mina Kimes said this about it. Like, which one is it? Do we want the drama or do we not want the drama? Because if I operate like we don't want drama, I read the tweet. It was cool. All right. Do I disagree with it? Sure. Go on about my business. But harping on it like this is how the drama creates this. Because now let Ben go out there and play bad. Now he was paying too much attention to Mina Kimes. He was paying too much attention to that. And now look what he got. He was trying to force the ball downfield.
Nah, he's like,
what are we doing here, man?
No, he's not worrying about that.
So why are we then?
Let the fans fight for him. We're fine. We're gonna defend him. No, dude. The thing is, no. Seriously, here's the thing. Because I said it. What was it? 2 weeks ago? Last week? I think it was 2 weeks ago. It was after the Texans game. I said, "Don't be talking about us. You're not talking about us." As we're on our 3-0 rule right now, don't talk about us. So now someone talks about us, but
people have been talking about. I told you, people have been talking about this. So they weren't saying it to your liking. You wanted them to like dominate the headlines. They haven't done the spectacular yet. And then when we talked about, like, we haven't even had the big 5-star matchups in terms of like really good on really good to even warrant that type of eyes and that type of praise right now. All that plays into it, baby.
No, but all right. So I said, don't talk about us. But then, all right, if you're gonna talk about us, this is how you talk about us. Now I got problems. Yep.
Only because it's been all these other teams getting the exact same stuff going on right now. You have zero issue with that. As it pertains to Ben, though, I got it. I know.
Who? What do you mean?
I'm just saying in general, like
everyone's got a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, but for you, because this is directed to your boy Ben, and we know how you feel about Ben. That's why this is like something so big. I mean, they've been talking about the defense. You ain't had an issue with that at all. But when it comes to Ben, you in here puffy chest fired up, big mad right now, man. Like
that's because Ben's been playing great. I mean, our defense it hasn't been the best. Not at least the secondary. I think our defensive line and everything's been good. Outside of that big ass run by Sanders, I think we only held him like 8 yards or something like that. Outside of that. Do we want to get into the defense? Is that the transition?
I just wanted to give you enough time to fully get it off your chest. I know how you feel about Ben. I figured you would come in here and I was ready for you to hijack Claypool and just act like Claypool didn't do anything. It was all Ben. I was waiting.
I said I gave him the game ball.
Okay. I didn't even know that.
I did have to say though. Claypool.
I know you wanted to give it to Ben. I know you. Like you looked at him for a time and said, "Man, that's Ben. Ben did that." Like, okay, bro. I know how you roll, man.
I said Claypool gets the game ball, but Ben was lights out as well. That's what I said.
Always got to help him in there.
I had to, dude. Come on, 3 touchdowns, the clutch drive at the end.
But you got to. If Ben had balled out, you wouldn't say Ben deserves the game ball. Hey, but look at Deontay and what he did. You would just put it as simply as just Ben by himself. So why can't Claypool get his flowers by himself? Why does he have to share with Ben? Like, dude, this is crazy, man.
Let me grow, man. I'm gonna grow. I'm gonna be a better person here. Just let me grow. Listen. Some of my old ways have been exposed today. Maybe I won't go off the rails on things that I'm not as well educated about. Let me grow here. So maybe the next one where Ben has 5 touchdowns and let's say Deontay has 2 touchdowns, Ben gets the game ball. It's clear, but Deontay played good too.
It's clear. See, it could never just be Ben gets the game ball. Shout out to Deontay, because that's what you said with Claypool was Claypool gets the game ball. Ben was lights out though. But with Ben was the MVP, clear. But shout out to Deontay as well. Like, God, well, you could not help yourself. It's all good though, man.
I'll be better.
It's all good.
I'm moving in the right direction.
But this is the thing, though. This is the thing. We talk about how the big national media, they're not giving the Steelers as much attention as they want. That's our job. We're going to make sure that we big them up as much as we need to, man.
I said that's fine. That's what I want. I don't want you talking about us anymore. We're 4-0. Let us fly under the radar, but don't compare Ben to Ben Simmons. That's all.
That's the biggest thing. You can't do the Ben Simmons analogy. That was the absolute worst part. That was the whole reason why we even had this conversation. That part there was just like, you can't do that.
You could tell I had that teed up. I was like, if you didn't bring up the deep throws at some point, I was going to bring it up in my hot topics.
It's all good. It's all good. But like I said, you heard me, and I'm glad I got a chance to speak before we even talked about that. So that way it ain't look like I was trying to flip flop. You know what I mean? In terms of, oh, well, she said this, let me say the opposite. Like, yeah, we already had got it out, man, in terms of what I thought would Ben. Like I said, I think he's playing extremely well this year, man.
I was going to say, you got to be loving it, man.
I already told you I'm loving it.
This is like up your alley.
Yeah, I'd rather give me efficiency, give me beautiful touchdown to interception ratio over just gaudy numbers and a ton of attempts and a ton of turnovers. Like, that's not good ball to me if you're turning the ball over multiple times in the game, because that kills you. That's how you lose close games. Why do you think? I tell you why I was really high on Aaron Rodgers last year and even Russell Wilson, because I'm like, bro, when you're looking at these players throwing 25 plus, 30 plus touchdowns and having single digit interceptions, like, that is tough to beat. That is tough. But if you throwing 30 touchdowns, you got 10 picks or 17 picks, like, it's not the same.
We're on our way, man.
Right.
40 touchdowns, like, but 4 picks. But that's why,
for me, I said this is the best I've seen Ben right now in terms of how efficient he is. I don't care about a deep ball stat. When we're watching the tape and we're seeing what he's doing, he is a surgeon right now. That is what you want from Ben. That's what's making this team, because let's be real. This team, it's been multiple games that they legit should have lost. And if Ben was turning the ball over like we've seen in the past, they probably would have lost these games. That's the difference right now. They're not turning the ball over. Ben is crazy efficient right now, man. When you have that helps you overcome a lot. And as long as he keeps going like that, they'll keep winning these type of games. Ugly as it was, right? We had some really good moments. We said they got ugly for that third or fourth quarter. They got ugly. It was like, whoa, man, what's going on here, baby? No turnovers on offense. In terms of not throwing interceptions, man, you get the job done.
Closeout drive as well. Mm-hmm. You can't beat it.
So that was more Ben than Claypool? Or does Claypool get love on that?
Yeah, he gets love for sure. Now, I was seeing something floating around Twitter. Who was it? Ocho, I think. He was breaking down that play.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even watch it because I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait for my man Moats to break it down for me. I think he's going to give me some good analysis. I don't need to hear this. Mm-hmm. But someone sent it to me,
It was good, man. Acho knows his stuff, man.
I
Acho's a
forget.
good dude.
I forget what he said. It was something like Ben was the key for this play.
Yeah,
Something like that.
so this is the thing, right? So when they were playing, it was either I believe it was cover 6 on this particular call, which is basically a quarter half, right? So you got corner's going to have 1/4 of the field, the safety's going to have another fourth, and then the backside safety has a whole half of the field. Problem is when you put speed at number 3. So we saw this with the Chargers with Keenan Allen 2 years ago going against John Bostic, Vince Williams, and LJ Ford. We talked about how, man, Keenan Allen kept matching up against them and was killing them because they know, okay, when you're running split safety coverage, the third defender is the linebacker traditionally, unless you go small ball, dime packages, right? So you know that's the matchup you want. So what you do, you make sure you get one of these receivers, speed at 3. You move him into that tight end slot now, and now you got the mismatch. Now, was that Ben saying that, hey, Chase, I want you to line up at 3? I don't know. We saw, like, throughout the game, Chase lined up there a lot, but it's no telling who directed who in that vein. But the thing that I was impressed with was, number one, recognizing it, which we said with Ben, above the neck, you're not fooling him in that regard. He knew it as soon as he lines up in the offense, man, he sees what the coverage is, he knows he's going with the ball right then and there. And then from there, man, just beautiful throw and catch. But we also saw it earlier in the game, too, where let's see,
was it on his other touchdown?
Yes, the other touchdown to Claypool. This time they were playing, it looked like a 2-man concept. So the corner is going to be a pressed up, but he's trail technique. Now, Jalen Mills, he ends up like playing off a little bit and going into what they call a speed turn because he's anticipating Claypool going deep. But what it does, though, now you got Claypool one-on-one with this safety. Safety misses him. Obviously missed the tackle. Beautiful touchdown from there. But that's the type of stuff that they've been able to do just in terms of Ben recognizing the coverage and understanding that, hey, if this guy does that, this guy's responsibility right here, it's going to put him in a bind. It's going to put him in a bad spot. And now I'm going to be able to execute that. I'm going to attack it. That's what Ben brings. That's when you talk about the elite quarterbacks. That's the thing that they do well. They're going to always have you in the best call. And that's what we're seeing from this offense. And more importantly, Ben, that is a Ben element of because he's the one with the ball in his hands and having to decide where to go with it and things like that. Some of the, like when we look at Carson Wentz on the opposite, Carson Wentz, very talented, right? We saw that talent show, but the decision making in terms of where to go with the ball, knowing pre-snap, post-snap, it was throws that Wentz either did not see, so he didn't even make the throw, or he was late on a read, and that was the difference between them moving the ball more and scoring more. Whereas with Ben, he was making the right throw, he was seeing what he was supposed to see, and that's why he lit it up the way he lit it up. That to me is the biggest difference right now when you're talking about Ben and what he's doing from an elite level. That is that. I mean, that right there, you don't get that. You know what I mean? Like, you either have it or you don't at this stage. And obviously, we know with Ben, man, you play that long, man, you've seen it all. And his pre-snap recognition, as soon as the ball is snapped, he's knowing right now, okay, that guy's getting out of here. He's not coming right here. This guy's lying here, but he's dropping to the third. I know exactly where I'm going with this ball. And he's cooking. And that to me is beautiful. That's what I'm loving the most about him, because he just looks like he's just playing quarterback. He's not trying to just feed or highlight just one guy. Even though Chase had the crazy breakout game, it wasn't like he was only trying to throw him the ball. We saw Ben spread it around everyone numerous times. And just the offense in general, we're seeing them use every single person.
And this is without Deontay, dude, like in basically 2 games. Yeah.
Think about this. They started the game out with Anthony McFarland starting at running back. Anthony got the first couple of carries. We saw Benny Snell. We saw Jalen Samuel. We saw James Conner. We talked about the receivers. The tight man, Ray McLeod was getting featured. Not just reverses. He was getting passes thrown at him.
There was one Ben tried to hit him on a streak.
Like they are using so many personnel, like so many different personnels and so many different players. I mean, I love it. And that's what I feel like you get when you don't have the clear-cut bona fide, this is the guy. And we talked like Claypool, he's looking like he can grow into that. We talked about Deontay as well. We said we thought Deontay could grow into that. But this is why you always have to wait and see them do it year after year, because 4-game sample size, he looks like he can.
Well, you already know what I'm thinking.
I already know. I know. But this is the thing. So 4-game sample size, we think that he can do it, right? But then we saw Deontay last year. We thought, okay, well, Deontay at the end of the year grew into it a little bit. Now this year he's not.
He just can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy. And he has some drops a little bit. So we're not seeing it consistently. Before that, we thought Juju. So this the only thing. It's like you kind of have to just let it progress and see it happen for more than just a couple of games. Because, I mean, we could all sit here and just say, well, man, we know the Eagles secondary is banged up outside of Darius Slay. We know, okay, when we talk about the Broncos, when we talked about the Texans, when we talked about the Giants, haven't really got that test just yet. And and when we talk about a national standpoint, why the Steelers still aren't talked about the same vein is because when you see a team like the Chiefs, for example, beat a team like the Ravens, like that's a big time matchup, right? When we talk about the Rams playing against the Bills, or the Rams playing against the Cowboys at the time, when the Cowboys, I think, were 1-1 or 1-2 at the time, like that's a bigger matchup. So it's more eyes on it. It holds more value because you're like, okay, I know this team is good, and I see them do it against that team. With the Steelers right now, they're kicking butt, doing what they're supposed to do. Whoever's in front of you, just beat them, cool. But they haven't played like that valuable competition. We talked about like with LeBron, right? You said you need a rival a little bit. You need that guy that's going to push you, or a team that's going to make you like, oh man, they really took him to the brink, to really say, okay, I appreciate what they're doing right now. We appreciate the LeBron coming down 3-1 against Golden State more than we appreciate what he did against the Miami Heat. Both games, though, he balled out, right? Both series he balled out. It was still the same LeBron. He still averaged a triple-double. He still was dominant. But because the competition in that Warriors team was so much greater, we hold it to a higher pedestal. It's talked about a lot more. Whereas versus the Heat is not. So that's what the thing right now with the Steelers, just because they haven't played a valuable opponent where you're like, oh, we know this team is going to be good. We know this is a contender right here. We just haven't seen it yet.
Which is fine. And whatever. Yeah. Like I said, don't talk about us. But
don't make that a negative in terms of saying, like, don't talk about us. It's just, bro, if you go out here and beat Baltimore like this, they're going to talk about you. If you go out here and beat this Browns team that's 4-1 right now, you beat them like this, they're going to talk about you. It's that simple, man.
They should have been on the hype train before that, though.
But why, though?
We closed the bandwagon off at 3-0.
This is my thing. If you weren't a Steelers fan and you're watching this team, and say you're let's see, who else is having a good season right now? I don't want to say Buffalo because that's too easy. Say you're the Seahawks, right? And you're watching, and we're seeing Russ week in and week out go against the Patriots, go against this team, go against that team, heroics, late game, everything. No, just think about it. And you're seeing that primetime games versus legit undefeated teams or teams with one loss. And then you're talking about, oh, well, that team over there, they're 4-0 too, but they only play a team that got 2 wins, 3 wins totals now. Like, what's going on here?
Dude.
Like, you're going to think about it differently. I just feel like because you're in Pittsburgh, because we're Pittsburgh fans, we look at it as a slight. It's not a slight. It's just you would do the same thing. Like, you would.
It's cool. But, like, even with the Seahawks, though, like, there's legit arguments they should have lost that game against the Vikings, who are, what are they, 1-4, 1-3 right now?
Yeah, but we said the Vikings are not a bad 1-4 team. The same way we said the Bears, we don't feel like they're, 3-1 right now? 4-1 right now? Or something, yeah.
They're 4-1.
4-1 right now. But
actually, they beat the Bucks pretty good. Like, that was a good game by them.
It was a good game.
Which I was cool on that take, too.
Yeah, it was a good game, but the thing is, we still don't feel as strong about the Bears at 4-1 as we do about the Steelers at 4-0, or about the Seahawks and what their record is, or even the Chiefs right now. We don't feel the same way about them as we do about the Bears. That's the thing. You know what I mean? Like
I said, it's fine. It's fine, man. I get it. I get it,
man. Get the drama stirring up, man.
I don't want any narrative. That's why I said it.
You do. That's a narrative, though. By you saying the bandwagon is cut off at 3, don't talk about us because we haven't beat anybody of substance, but we're undefeated. But y'all want to talk about us enough. Don't talk to us no more. Like we in our feelings now. That's drama. That's a narrative. That's unnecessary. We don't need that.
I don't know. I think it's just telling people this is what it is.
You would be doing the
how's that drama
thing.
When I'm telling them not to talk about us? I don't want any drama or hype or anything. Because you just simply
said, y'all ain't talk about us beforehand. Don't talk about us now, especially if we about to play some real teams. Don't talk about us if we beat these real teams. That's basically what you're saying. You ain't talk about us when we beat some teams that nobody really knows how good they're going to be or how bad they are. Now that we want to play some real teams, don't talk about us no more, man. If we beat this team that now we get a chance to really be evaluated, don't talk about us now. Like that sounds better.
Texans,
it sounds better.
Texans didn't look bad this week,
bro. Stop it.
I'm just
Texans
saying.
just fired their whole house. They fired the coach, the GM, this guy, that guy, the Falcons too. The Falcons have fired the head coach, the GM, the special teams. Man, the special teams coach got fired. I said, Lord, everybody getting fired. Man, I don't want to hear that. You're not about to sit here and tell me this Texas team is good all of a sudden. No, stop it.
They're not. Maybe they're not as bad as we thought. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. And could the Eagles be in the mix for the NFC East? I don't know.
That's fine. But we already said, just because you're in the mix to win a division, we've seen teams win a division with 7 wins. That doesn't mean you're a good team.
It goes back to well, this was another take I was wrong about, saying the Raiders were trash or mediocre, whatever it is. But
Yeah,
you
was on that Raiders thing for a long time. I was tripping. I told you. I said the Raiders are good, man.
If the Eagles are in that middle of the pack, that's all right. You Steelers did their job.
Though, as it stands today, are they in the middle of the pack? Yes or no?
I don't know, but let's just see how the season plays out.
No. As it stands, because right now, are the Steelers in the middle of the pack right now?
Nah, elite.
Oh, so they're elite. But when we ask, are the Eagles middle of the pack right now? Is I don't know. What's the difference here?
Not right now.
What's the difference?
Where are they going to end up?
No. We're saying as it stands today. As it stands today, they're a bad team. What's their record right now?
Yeah, but then you can say the same thing about the Vikings. If we're going right off record,
you're right.
And
cool.
Seahawks should have lost that game.
And that's fine. Did they though?
No, they didn't. And we didn't lose
we could have made the case
that's
exactly. So it doesn't matter if they should have. The fact is they won. So right now, as it stands today, the Steelers are a good team. The Eagles are a bad team. As it stands today.
We say the same thing about Vikings then, bad team.
That's fine.
So in terms
but don't act like we beat the same caliber teams as the Seahawks. We haven't played no team that's even close to the Patriots. Don't lie to yourself.
I'll give them Patriots, and Cowboys are they're up there. Okay. They're in the middle of the pack.
So who have we played that are in the conversation with those teams? We were supposed to have the Titans. We didn't get that game. At the time, the Texans they had lost. They were at 0-3, and then from that game they fired the whole staff.
But hold on, hey, let's go back to last season. Patriots, what were they, 7-0 to start the season? Everyone was glorifying them. They had the worst schedule in the league, hands down.
And people talked about that too. They said, "Man, their schedule is super easy right now. It's going to get tougher." They said that,
but no one was doubting the Patriots still, though. It's not like they were
because when you look at what they've been able to do, you give them the benefit of the doubt. The same with Ben. If Ben can go out and have a terrible game, you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt because his body of work as a whole.
I just don't see the media doing that with us. That's all.
You're doing it. You're media, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Aren't you media?
I'm giving us the benefit of the doubt.
So then you good then.
I'm saying everyone else.
You pulled up one person this week, talk about me and the con, so you're the one person that's on the opposite side, so it's all even. We good, man. Gee.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I got a feeling that the media's against us here, man.
Hey, man, create the drama if you want to create it. I thought Steelers fans didn't want drama and didn't want narratives.
I didn't. They just wanted to go. That's what I said. I don't.
But you creating them. It's cool.
No, they started it.
Now they start. How old are we here? How old are we?
They did.
How old are we?
We got to defend ourselves.
How old are we? They started it?
They did.
How old are we? What are we talking? They started it. They said we weren't good first. No, we're going to put the finger back. Like, what? What are we talking about here, man? We are undefeated, 4-0. We got a divisional game coming up. Who cares what they talking about, man? What are we talking about?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it impacts how people view things. That's what it is.
I don't care how they view it. As long as we keep stacking them W's, you can listen. People.
I just want people to give Ben respect. That's all. You know how LeBron said, "I want my damn respect." That's what we got to do to Ben.
But this is the thing. LeBron said it after winning the 4th championship with a 3rd different team, slightly different. Finals MVP, 4th one is a little bit different. But what I would say is this: people still gonna hate on LeBron. It's still, you go on social media right now. For as much people that are praising LeBron and the Lakers, it's still a strong faction that are hating on him, hating on that team, Mickey Mouse ring, LeBron, and all this other stuff. Does it take away from the fact he got 4 rings, 4 Finals MVPs on 3 different teams? No.
Think of the general,
you can say what you want to say.
Think of the general sentiment, though, of what the narrative that's getting portrayed out from media and TV.
If you're LeBron and Lakers,
people are all about LeBron right now.
No, they're not. No, I'd say don't do that. The
general media?
Don't do that.
Where am I off on this?
No. The same way you talk about your Mina Kimes, Skip Bayless is 1,000 times worse than what Mina Kimes is doing to LeBron. It's not even close. It's not even a debate.
I agree with you on that.
And we can go down the list. It's numerous, but it's multiple people, not only national media, but also in the comments, like you say, right in the comment section. There's plenty of people that are hating on LeBron. Oh, LaFraud. Oh, he avoided. He ain't have to play this team. He ain't have to do that. Oh, it was in a bubble. Oh, it was no fans. He ain't have to go on the road and all this other nonsense. Say what you want. At the end of the day, them 4 rings are still 4 rings. Them 4 Finals MVPs are still 4 Finals MVPs. Him getting 4 rings with 3 different teams is still going to be that, regardless if you hate it or love it. At the end of the day, baby, you can't worry about what all these people saying, man. Because they going to talk. You're not going to be able to please everyone, man. They going to have an issue regardless.
Like I said,
just be you.
As the Steeler fans, the Steeler Nation, it's part of our job, I think. It's part of our duty. Whereas, the Steeler team, focus on the game. That's all.
Man, I feel like the job of the fans, man, is just to keep loving the team, man. Who cares what everybody else is saying? Make sure that y'all cheering the 5,000 that are allowed in attendance, 5,500. Y'all make sure y'all just go nuts. That's all y'all worry about. And if you're on social media, make sure you're bigging up the team even more. Who cares what the negatives are saying? drown them out with the positive. That's how
what
I
I'm
look
saying.
at it, man.
I'm taking the negative. I'm trying to put the positive spin on it and say you guys are
don't
wrong.
even worry about the negative. Just throw out positive, because by you saying you're wrong, then you're gonna create a whole nother negative scenario again for them, and then it's just back and forth, negative on negative, negative on negative.
Wait, how's it going to be a negative scenario when I'm right?
Well, because it's perspective.
We laid down the facts, though, man.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a dispute.
It was a dispute because you even said it yourself. You confirmed the first part of her tweet.
No, I didn't.
You did. You said that he's been overthrowing, and you said, man, maybe because his arm is too strong, maybe it came back better. Right. That does confirm the inaccuracy downfield, does it not?
She didn't say that.
She did.
She said no. She said he's not throwing deep balls.
She said he's 30 something in the league in deep passing. That's what she said.
That was her comment. That was her
that was the rebuttal
my
to
stat,
that.
which doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
I mean, you just said it though. Huh? You just said it.
Lacks context. But I'm talking. I'm talking about the initial tweet.
You just said it though.
What? It lacks complete context.
It's because you're not going to see it.
He is throwing the ball down the field. That's all.
Okay.
It lacks context.
Okay.
Not to the degree he was in the past, but like we went back. We already talked about all this.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to. We're winning games.
Cool.
He's
cool.
Orchestrating the offense.
It's cool. I did find it funny though, and it's my last thing, and then we'll transition to the defense. With Josh Allen, he was doing similar things a year ago, and you would get on him about that too. In terms of being highly efficient on short to intermediate, it would hit on every once in a while on a deep ball, and people would say, well, his deep ball accuracy isn't there, but he's still lighting it up though. He's still 3,000-yard passer, touchdowns, low interception rate, and you would come up here every time we talked about him and say, well, I need to see the deep ball. He ain't connecting with it enough. I need to see more deep ball accuracy. Not this thing that you just said. No, wait a minute. That. You did. Not this thing that you're doing with Ben.
I really don't think I did.
But with Bennis,
I really don't think I did.
Oh, he's overthrowing it. But that's a good miss, though. At least he got a strong arm. We talked about with Josh Allen. We know he got one of the strongest arms in the league. And we said, what? Give us accuracy over the arm. That's what you said. You said it's about having that accuracy. I don't care about how strong your arm is. Ben doesn't have to have the strongest arm. He has accuracy. That's what you said. You did this right here. Accuracy. Because when you talking about Ben, you make, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But same concept. Either way,
Josh Allen is showing accuracy here.
Well, now, yes, but last year,
and I think context matters with all this. Mm-hmm. Where them saying Ben with the lack of deep shots,
so where was your context at when it was with him?
Huh?
Where was your context with Josh?
I think that was
you didn't give context.
No, I think everyone would agree that he had a really good deep arm, like a really good.
No, don't change that narrative now, baby. Don't you change it now.
But it did lack accuracy. I think that was the narrative. Mm-hmm. The narrative with Ben is he's not
negative though, right? Huh? You viewed that as a negative when we talked about that.
I can't remember saying this at all. To be honest with you, I think I was concerned about him going up against the bright lights.
Yeah, I mean, you told us that
defense.
Duck was going to outplay him and everything. Stop it, bro.
I know I was wrong. I don't know why we keep bringing this up. I said I was wrong.
But this is what I'm saying. You're so
and I'm giving Josh Allen credit.
But this is the thing. It's not about Josh. I'm just simply saying. You see, like, when you talk about the lacking of context, this is that, okay? So the same way you felt about that, that's how this is right here. Don't go all the way down this thing about, man, Ben being disrespected and all this other stuff. All this lack of context, but you are the king of lack of context, man. That's all I'm saying, baby.
Wait, you're allowed though. Like Bill's, like you're allowed to respond. If you're gonna put it out there, people can respond.
Yeah,
and I don't
she
care.
responded to the response,
and she's wrong on that. That's what I'm saying. Like there's no good point.
But how is she wrong? But that's the thing. She's not wrong when you already admitted that she was right. You just made an excuse as to why it was wrong.
That doesn't have to do with the tweet. It doesn't. Like, it's the whole tweet lack context.
I understand, right? It's because of Ben. It's because of Ben. If any other quarterback, you're not tripping on that. You're gonna back it with the stats, like how she did.
But it's cool, bro. If she said it with a Packers fan, yeah, the Packers fan's gonna come out.
Right, but you're not gonna have an issue. You're gonna be like, all right, it's cool.
I'm not trying.
You'd be like, oh, technically, she got a point there. You would say, yeah, she got some point.
I don't think I would. I just, you're right. I wouldn't bring it up or anything. It wouldn't bother me. It's not coming at my guy, but that's what we do.
Anywho,
I just want our guys respected. That's all.
Anywho, thoughts on the defense, man?
Not hot. It's not looking too good right now, especially in the secondary. That's about it. I think our D line looks good. It's getting to that point where you talk about the miscommunication, all this other type of stuff. There's a deadline for that where we can't be keeping on bringing up. Oh, it's just the little things. It's just miscommunication. They're gonna figure it out at some point. That's it, man. I don't know. You have this Fulgham guy going off on us, rookie from Old Dominion, 6th round pick.
7.57, baby. Well, he's not from. He's from like Alexandria, Virginia. But
I don't know.
in the building, all right.
There were some good throws in it, like a good throw. They
definitely. Like, man, he had one on Hilton. It was beautiful. It was literally 2-man. You talk about it reminded me of Ben. I mean, it was plenty of times I remember we be in practice and you're covering that very same route, man. 2 men. So you got the safeties are playing a cover 2 zone, right? So they have between the 2 guys, one has one half, one has the other half. Everybody else is playing man to man. And that's the throw that they say, man, if that guy can make that throw, that's special, because 90% of the time they're going to miss that. If I'm attached to this guy underneath, you can't throw it under. You can't throw it short. You got to put air on it, but you can't put too much air because of safety there. You have to be exactly perfect on that, though. They missed some of those throws. They definitely did. I mean, we've seen Ben do it. We've seen the top tier quarterbacks do it. And we know with Wentz, he has top tier ability. It's just the injuries and the inconsistencies are what holds him back right now. But we know, I mean, it's a reason why he was drafted. It's a reason why he's to this point in his career. I mean, we know he can make those throws. He can do that. So some of that was that, without a doubt, man.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Where do we go from here? Like, what's your solutions here?
Yeah. So for me, man, watching them again, it was a couple of things. Number one, we talked about how D-line and coverage units working together, right? We said that it was a couple times that the rush saved the secondary, whether it was the pressures, the QB hit, the 11 QB hits, or the 5 sacks. A mix of that kept points off the board. But then on the flip side, it was times where the D-line didn't get there, and that largely played into some of those passes that we were seeing, some of the double moves, some of the longer downfield routes. They go hand in hand. I mean, and I understand too, because trust me, the D-line, they balled out. But the thing is, it's like when you talk about not having those lulls, right, where you feel like, man, for about 2 quarters, we felt like we weren't really getting to Wentz. We felt like, man, he was having time and just doing what he wanted. Then obviously in the 4th, after the dagger touchdown with Claypool, then we come back, Bud gets a sack, TJ gets after it, totally different atmosphere. You can't have those lapses. And we said just throughout this season, offensively and defensively, they've all had these quarter to 2 quarter lapses where they kind of disappear a little bit. That's what we're seeing a little bit with the rush. So that's why sometimes the rush looks amazing, and then you're kind of like, well, dang, man, what's going on here? Where is it at? Now, from the secondary standpoint, it's a couple of things. Number one, they're having missed assignments. Man, it's been a couple of touchdowns, 2-point conversions, multiple plays now that we've seen throughout these weeks where it's just flat out miscommunication. You watch it on tape and you're like, okay, you can try to piece together the puzzle, but because it's not just one guy, that's the problem. If it was just one guy out of assignment, it's easy to point it out. They stick out like a sore thumb on tape. You're like, oh, it was that guy. It's cool. But that's not the case. It's 2 and 3 guys. And sometimes it's guys that we don't like, we're not going to name because we know these guys have put up together, fantastic seasons in the past and have had nice stats. But some of those key guys in the secondary are part of the miscommunication at times. That's what's really killing them. And then from a technique standpoint, man, I don't know when they started doing this because like Coach Simon, he's like anti this, but they're playing man to man, but instead of it being bump and run, they're playing either off man or they're playing bump, or they're playing no bump, just and run coverage, meaning they're not getting hands on these receivers and disrupting the timing. And the problem with that is this: if you play man to man, but I don't touch you, my technique and my eyes have to be perfect every single snap. I have to come out of my break perfect every single time. That's hard to do because essentially now when you don't put hands on these receivers, you make it athlete on athlete. So to put it in context, right? Ray McCloud, is he the most productive wide receiver in the NFL? No, not even close, right? But if we're talking about just athletic ability, from an athletic ability standpoint, he's one of the best athletes on the field in terms of speed and elusiveness, right? So if I am a little bit lesser of an athlete, still I'm a great player now, very productive. I got interceptions, PBUs, tackles, I do all of that. But if we're just talking sheer athletic ability, if I allow Ray McCloud to get a 5 to 10 yard head start before I move my feet, he's going to torch you every time. With Fulgham, that's what they were doing. They would not put hands on him. It was 3 times they put hands on him. The 3rd and 5, the right after this was going into when Claypool scored, where Joe gets the PBU. That was one of the first times in the second half, one of the only times in the second half that they actually challenged Fulgham at the line of scrimmage. You see Joe, and even with Joe, he's lined up nose to nose with him. He doesn't touch him until 4 yards, though. He's backpedaling off, dancing with him, and then he finally touches him. But that's the difference. Now, you disrupt the timing of his break. Also, because you got hands on him, you're already in phase with him. So when the ball is coming, you're able to play on the ball. Prior to that, Joe, Steven, all these guys that took turns, Mike Hilton, they're either playing 5 yards off or sometimes they were at 8 yards off and allowing him to free release. And then from there, you got to guess right. All right, I'm going to take away the inside. If he breaks out, I got to be perfect on this break. Versus a great athlete or versus a guy that can just run routes on air, you're going to get cooked. And that's what was going on literally the whole game, and especially on third downs. We talk about why Carson Wentz was so great on third down. They would not press any of those receivers. The only receiver they would press was Zach Ertz. Whether it was Minka, Edmonds, Hilton, Steven Olsen, even Joe, anytime those guys played against Zach Ertz, they were face to face with him and they would get hands on him early. Or because he's not as athletic as some of those other guys, they were able to move with him and dance with him coming in and out of the breaks. That's why you really didn't see a lot from him. But when it came down to the receivers, Ward, Fulgham, they would not touch them. They literally would give them a cushion and just play, okay, if you're running this 10-yard out, when you go to break at 10, I'm going to hope that my break is better than your break. And it just wasn't. And that's the biggest thing. So for me, if you're going to play, and there's pros and cons to both, right? A lot of times why they don't play as much bump and run is because number one, it's taxing. You get tired. Joe, the play where going into halftime, right, where the guy hits the bomb on Joe Hayden
on the right sideline. Yeah.
Literally 3 plays in a row, they took Joe deep. The play before they actually made the completion, remember they threw it to Joe in the end zone on the post route, and the guy just overthrows it. That was one of those plays where I talked about D-line making a play, saving Joe, because Joe definitely had given up some space. It should have been a touchdown. If it's a good throw and catch, it's a touchdown. But they did that 3 times in a row. Joe's gassed. You can see him, he's barely putting his chin strap on. Like, you can just see he's tired. So when you talk about bumping and running, that takes a lot. Early in the season, not the real offseason that you get, guys are still playing themselves into shape. That's a part of it as well. The second thing, when you play bump and run, right, the risk you give is if you do get tired, or if you miss with your hands, now you got to worry about getting beat over the top. Okay, that's another element of it, okay? But the problem also is this. When you're playing a lot of press man to man, your disguise goes away, because I'm able to just look and see flat backs across, everybody's pressed up, y'all are man-to-man coverage. Excuse me. So those are some of the negatives with it. The positive are, though, your time is going to be off. So if my D-line is rushing how they rush, well, those sack numbers are going to go up, because you're not able to just look 3 steps and just throw it because my hands are on them at 3 yards. I'm still in that phase right there. It makes the players have to develop longer. Also, I'm not going to allow you to just get a 10-yard completion just by me standing here and not moving. Even though fundamentally you didn't do anything wrong, you don't challenge him. If you don't challenge him, it's a simple throw and catch. It's like watching when you go to training camp and you see the offense before practice with all their wide receivers and they're just throwing routes on there. That's what it looks like, because you're not touching, you're not disrupting the timing of it. That's another element of it, okay? So the way you combat that is, number one, you put hands on them. But number two, okay, if you don't want to do a whole bunch of the press man-to-man stuff, you try to go off man. Now, what they do when they go off man, like I talked about, it allows these guys to have free reign. The beauty of off man, though, is the disguise. When you look at them pre-snap, you see those guys moving around a ton back there, right? You'll see Cam Sutton on the right side, and then he's dropping into the middle of the field. You'll see Mink on one side dropping over there. When you're playing off, you get the luxury to do all those cute disguises pre-snap, and sometimes you'll confuse people. Sometimes you will. But when you get a team like how Wentz was, and he just got committed to Fulgham and Ward, and he was just basically saying, look, man, if they're going to do all this cute zone stuff, man, run 10-yard in, you run a 10-yard out, you run a drag, man, we're going to just light that up like that. Those are some of the issues you get with that. Now, what the Steelers could do are 2 things, because they're playing a ton of man too, especially on third down. Typically, it's more fire zone, right? Typically, it's more just split safety zones. That's what we've seen from them in the past. But last year, second half of the season, they started to transition to a lot more man because they had the personnel for that. If you're going to play man, you just have to have those guys playing more bump and run, getting hands on these receivers to disrupt them. You can't play off man 90% of the time. They're playing off man on possession downs 90% of the time, and you're just allowing an easy throw and catch. You can't do that. Now, if you want to play off, you got to go more zone stuff. Now, if you go zone stuff, 2 things happen. Number one, you got more eyes on these guys, right? So that's going to help you out. But with zones, it's naturally just soft spots. It's going to be holes in the zone. So each defense has pros and cons to it. There is no perfect thing. But I just think from a technique standpoint, if you're going to play man like how you're playing, you have to have those guys get hands on these receivers. What I would do if it was me, I'm saying, okay, we're going to mix it up a lot more. Instead of us playing exclusively man, if you guys aren't conditioned enough to be able to bump and run 90% of the game, All right, well, you know what? We're going to play man 60% of the time instead of 90. And then on those other 40%, all right, we're going to mix it up with some type of exotic zone, some type of blitz, and that's going to help you out. That'll help cover for some of those scenarios. But right now, they're just on sheer technique before the game, before the play starts, just on their technique and alignment, they're already at a disadvantage. And that's why you're seeing teams continually be able to move the ball like that. And why when you see them against a guy like Wentz, who we said, man, we know he's talented and he gets going, that's what it's going to look like right now. So they're going to have to figure out something, man, whether, like I said, you either press more, get hands and disrupt these guys, or you rely exclusively on the rush and say, hey, you guys got to get there within 3 to 4 seconds. No excuse. That's another alternative. Or you got to mix it up on the back end, man, and not play exclusive man. But that's the biggest thing I'm saying. And then I think that's also carried over for Minka too. People have talked about Minka's lack of productivity, lack of splash. Last year when Minka was here, they were playing a lot more zone early. Then they shifted to man. Or if they were playing man, he was the low cut defender, right? So instead of being the middle of the field, deep guy, 20 yards downfield, he was 10, 15 yards from the line of scrimmage, jumping on things, right? And that gives you the luxury to be able to read the quarterback's eyes and make plays. When they're playing exclusive man, he's literally between the hashes. Some of these throws are out by the numbers. You're not getting there unless you cheat to get there. But if you cheat that, you just know you're leaving something else open. Now, do we want Minka to do more? Absolutely, because I look at Minka and I say, man, Minka, you're a phenomenal player, right? You're a great athlete. The same way when we watch Cam and Tua in the front, right? We know, okay, if it's a run play, they got this A gap, right? The gap between the center and the guard. That's their gap. And they can stay in their gap every play. The run would never go there. Did they do their job? Yes. But we know I would much rather see him swim out of that gap, make a tackle for a loss, than you play your gap every single time and you never make a splash play. With Minka, he's not taking those chances right now. He's really just being by the book. It's not wrong. It doesn't mean he's playing bad.
You think there's a reason?
I don't know. That's the thing, because last year, some of those times he would take chances. Right now, when he is taking chances, he's guessing wrong. And that plays into it as well. You know what I mean? It's the one, this would have been on the goal line. I believe it was the 2-point play. Yeah, he's in the middle of the field, cover one. He runs up as if he was gonna, because I think what he saw was when Zach Ertz ran across the motion, like at post snap, he runs across the field behind the line of scrimmage. He looks at Wentz rolling out and thinks Wentz is gonna try to run this, so he leaves the middle of the field to go find Wentz. Problem is, by doing that, he cuts off Edmonds, who's chasing after Ertz, which leaves Ertz open in the flat, and then you got the receiver in the back of the end zone. Now Joe Hayden, who's supposed to be in the back of the end zone, has to try to cover both guys. You took the chance, but you guessed wrong. And now you put the defense in the bind. So it's so much that goes into it. So it's not like you could just say, go out here predetermined, take this chance right here. You have to make sure that if you're going to take the chance, your percentages are right. That's what Troy was great at. Troy, if he's going to take a chance, Troy knew, man, it's a 90% chance that this is what you're going with. If it's a 90% chance or even an 80% chance, take the chance. Right now, we're not seeing that pop up a lot on Minka's tape this year. Like I said, it's still early in the year, and that's why I'm not ready to just write the book on him and say, oh man, last year was a one-off. But those are some of the things that are playing into it. And when you add missed tackles, missed assignments, bad technique, along with some of the, all right, I guessed wrong here. Well, then you look at the defense, the secondary, you're like, bro, the secondary is broke. What's going on here? That's it though, man. It's nothing like major. That's the beauty of it. Some teams, man, like we talk about, some teams it's like, bro, y'all got way more issues than just bumping up. You know what I mean? With the Steelers, it's a simple fix. Dude, either mix the coverage up, play more zone, or just put your hands on these guys. If you're Minka, hey, just play the percentages. If you know it's third and 10, they come on a trip set and you know the X on the backside is condensed. You know, okay, he's either running across this formation or he's running some type of corner, some type of outbreaking route. Play the percentages. It's stuff like that. And Minka's a professional. He's going to do these things. But I just think right now, early in the year, that happens. You know what I mean? Like when you don't have the offseason to get this stuff, when you don't have the offseason to get the time and to get the condition and to see these reps, yeah, you're going to be a little bit late. You're going to guess wrong sometimes. But the beauty is this: if you're guessing wrong and we're talking about the secondary not playing up the par and you're still 4-0, I think it's a good problem to have right now, man.
Coach Moats with the breakdown.
Man, I feel like I went on for a long time right there. My apologies, man. I was excited about those guys, man, because I really wanted to go back and see like what's going on. But that's it, man. It's simple, which is good. Like when you talk about the Eagles, they got personnel issues. Like they don't, outside of Darius Slay, they just don't have the personnel to match up. Now with Darius Slay, we talk about like guys that press man a lot. He almost plays exclusively pressed, but what he does really well is he is handsy. So he gets hands on the guys in 5 yards, but he also has a problem down the field. He still wants to hand fight. That's just a part of the receivers that you're used to going against. We talk about AB. We seen numerous times with AB. AB gonna hand fight you, push off. So he's accustomed to that. Sometimes referees will let it go. Sometimes they call it. It's 50-50 with that type of stuff. But that's why he's able to excel. Guys like Jalen Ramsey, they're able to excel doing all this man-to-man stuff because they're not allowing guys to just come off the line of scrimmage free. No, we talk about Richard Sherman. You see these guys, Revis, man, they are hands. They're gonna grab, push, do something to disrupt your time. And prime time's another one. We saw Deion saying he was the king. Like he's gonna quick jam you. He gonna touch you. I done jam you 3 times. Now I'm gonna fake the jam because that's gonna make you slow up. And now you're gonna run. That hesitation disrupts your route. I'm good to go now. That's all I need is just that split second because that's gonna help the rush. And it's also going to make that quarterback look over here and say, okay, you my first read. It's not there. Let me go somewhere else now. All of it works together in that vein, man.
Nice, dude. Secondary's going to be better now.
I hope so. I hope so, man.
After listening to you.
I hope so. Because the thing, like I said, man, they haven't fallen off. The guys haven't gotten older. Steven Nelson isn't a bad player all of a sudden. Joe Hayden isn't too old. It's just that simple adjustment of because it's times where they play off, man. It's times they play and actually press. The biggest issue is they are not putting their hands on these receivers, though. If you allow guys that at the NFL level, these athletes are the best of the best. If you allow these guys to just free release, they will continue to cook you. And that's what we've seen this year. And like I said, I think a lot of it does have to do with the condition element of it, though. When you haven't been getting those football reps and getting into like legit football shape, it's tough. Tough.
A lot of defenses are getting torched in the league.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
The passing's been crazy, so that would go to your point.
Yeah. I'm telling you, and we said on defense, man, you can play 10 plays right. You have one bad play, it's a touchdown. And when we're looking at this tape, it's like, man, outside of the mental errors, they're playing well. It's just, man, dude, get the technique right. Just bump up a little bit. Touch him. Because you're doing everything else right. Your break is good. Your eyes are good. But because you didn't do that, you're low. You're losing before you even get the real opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's a big issue. You know what I mean? Like they can fix that. But if they don't, it's going to continue to look like this. And it's only going to get worse when you really play. Like I kept saying to myself when I watched the game, I said, we're lucky this is Wentz and Fulgham and Ward and not Big Ben, Deontay, Juju, and Claypool, because with a legit surgeon who has legit weapons, you playing that off coverage, letting these guys just run, it's going to look like Canadian football out here, man. These guys are going to light you up. It's going to look like Arena League. It's going to look like Pac-12. Like, I'm telling you. Better put hands on these guys, baby. You got to put hands on them, man.
Is that it? We got any other hot topics?
Man. Well, on the injury front, we got to see what's going on with DeCastro, man. Once again, shout out to the Dotson, though. Stepped up, played extremely well. He had some tough ones. Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, them boys, they were close some fits, but for the majority of the time, though, man, I thought Dotson played it really well. And then obviously we got to see what's going on with Deontay. Both of those guys didn't get a chance to finish. They both went out very early in the game, too. I mean, it's unfortunate with DeCastro, too, because he's coming back from the knee injury, and now it's the abdominal, so it sucks. But that's the NFL, man. And then obviously, like I said, with Deontay, he has the back injury. He kind of got banged up a little bit, though, man. They definitely were flying around when it came to him, man. Definitely were.
Yeah, I think Pouncey's a little banged up, but they said he ended up leaving early.
He left like a series or two in the fourth before it was over.
They're saying him and Deontay are minor.
Yeah,
DeCastro's a little bit more major, but hopefully Deontay's back, man. Just because we're playing this good without him, and we both have spoke very highly of him. Bro, so if we add him with what Claypool's doing, that'd be awesome. Do you want to hear hot topics? You got anything?
I know you got something cooking for me, baby.
Well, dude,
what you got for me, man?
We already touched on it, man. I don't know if we need to. The wide receiver one now.
Okay, man. I know you're ready to crown him, man. Let's do it.
It's time. Well, because
it's time.
Well, just because we talked about, you had the more level-headed approach of like, I don't know if we have a dominant wide receiver one yet. Everyone's playing their role. I said I felt like it's Deontay, even though I agreed with your stance. But if we were to say there was a receiver one, I think it's got to be Deontay right now. I said, Claypool, I think it's going to be him in the future.
Oh, so now it's the future?
It's the future now. It's happened quicker than I thought. I can't believe it. Maybe I can't believe it. I don't know.
You know what's funny, though?
You feel it, too?
No. It's funny. Let's see. We're an hour and 30 into this podcast. About 45 to 50 minutes ago, you said, this was after we were talking about the Clippers, right? You said, man, I'm not going to go out here and just make these bold predictions. I'm not going to just throw that out there like that anymore. I'm going to actually be patient because literally, you said it was Deontay.
I feel good about this one.
But I felt like opening game, you said it was Juju. When Juju when Juju was balling out, he had the touchdowns. The first two games, he was going crazy. He was going crazy, though. People were, oh man, hey, Juju's back. He's the guy. Now,
Deontay
today,
had the most targets in that week one.
No, he had the most targets, but we said who had the most productivity, the most impact, the most touchdowns, and it was the first two games. Juju was the guy. He wasn't the most targeted, but he was doing he was diving on loose fumbles, blocking, giving you everything. And hey man, Juju's the guy. Then it was Deontay. Now we're on Chase.
I think a lot of people disagreed with me on Deontay.
All I'm saying is this: why are we doing that? Why can't we just appreciate the performance? But let's see it again. Let's see these games stack up. I mean, we talked about how we haven't seen them against a legit secondary yet either. Like, can we just? I want to see when it's good on good who emerges. Because that's what separated AB. That's why I said with AB, it was clear he was number one. Because when you're playing against your Patrick Petersons, your Richard Shermans, your Joe Haydens, all these guys, he's drawing that matchup. And it wasn't close. He wasn't 50-50. He was dominating them. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's a lot easier when you're not followed exclusively by their best guy. Darius Slay didn't line up exclusively on Claypool. We saw Claypool line up against, I mean, you name any of their secondary linebackers, he lined up on all those guys. That's all I'm saying, man. When you're doing it consistently against the best that's out there, then you are the number one. Then you are the guy. Right now, we haven't seen any of those guys do that to this point consistently. So that's why I'm not just about to sit here and just say, oh, yeah, 4 touchdowns. He's the guy. Because in a week from now or 2 weeks from now, when he's going against somebody else and, oh, he only has 2 catches, and I don't think he's going to have one of those games like that. No way. But if he were to, then it's like, oh, whoa, maybe we should slow it down a little bit. So to avoid that, let's just enjoy the performance, appreciate the performance, celebrate it. But we don't have to go out here and just ready to sell the whole house for it now. That's all I'm saying, baby. I feel like, do you gamble? I feel like you would be a bad person to gamble with, man.
Barely.
That's good. That's saving you money, man.
It's on every blue moon.
Because you look like the type to be like, oh, I saw a red hit. Oh, I'm putting everything on red this time. This got to be the one. Nah. He's the one. Like, whoa, don't do that, man. Just give us some time. Let's get some body of work. Let's get some valuable competition, some body of work, some consistency with it, and then we'll go from there. But right now, 4 games in, baby, I mean, we literally have named 3 different receivers in the past 4 weeks that could be in contention for the number 1 spot.
I'm not flipping on this. I'm telling you right now. Right. I'm not flipping. I'm saying Claypool's number 1 here on out.
But I thought Deontay was number 1.
No, I did say that, but like here on out, I think it's Claypool.
Even if Deontay is healthy.
I think Claypool's the best receiver we got. Okay. Let me put it that way. I think hypotheticals. I know you brought up Peterson, Sherman. If we're going up against any of these defenses coming up, they're going to be focusing their attention on Claypool with their number 1 cornerbacks, whatever it is. Yeah, you can tell me I'm wrong once it happens.
No, I don't mind who they focus the attention on. I just want to see if the attention is focused on them. Are they going to dominate the matchup? Not have 1 or 2 catches. We've seen 1 or 2 catches. No, I want to see you dominate it. If you dominate it, then hey, we ain't got to debate who the number 1 receiver is. You gonna show us. It's not gonna be a debate. We talked about all the last year. Is Juju a number 1 receiver? Is Juju the guy? Is Juju the guy? And we saw, okay, maybe not to that extent. Then we said Deontay. All right, well, a little bit of inconsistency this year. That's all I'm saying, man. The same way we should probably be a little slower with those 2 guys. Let's continue to be a little bit slower and just continue to let Claypool go out here and flourish and show us more.
That's fine. I guess for some reason I feel like I got to be
yourself a lie. This is what you did with Kawhi.
I guess I feel like I got to be ahead of the game here, and just I feel it happen. I feel Claypool's the guy.
Is it gonna change anything for you though? Honestly,
I think it's because people are saying Juju's won, and even in that standpoint, I still feel Deontay's won. So then to even take it, I think Claypool's won now. So
it's a 3-horse race. What you're telling me?
No, I people are saying Juju. I'm saying Claypool, but it was Deontay. Now all of a sudden, it's looking like Claypool. Deontay's just been hurt, man, and I think
oh man, you're
what
funny.
You can say is eye test for sure with Claypool. For sure, he's got it all.
He's gonna be Splash, yeah.
Yeah, I think
definitely giving Splash right now, man.
All right, dude. I got Claypool as my one.
All right,
and you're staying the same.
Yeah, I still don't feel like any of them have proven that they're the clear-cut guy. I think that this was a great game by him, but we also said going into this matchup, when we talked about the keys to the game, what we said we to look out for, we said the O-lines versus the D-lines. We said both of those defensive units were really good in terms of their D-line, and we said our O-line was better than the Eagles. We also said that our passing attack should dominate their secondary. We said outside of Darius Slay, they either were banged up or just not good in their secondary. We said that. They did what we expected, and our offense did what we expected. To me, that still doesn't change how I feel about the receivers as it stands today. I just think that they executed and did exactly what we said. Anytime that those guys, and trust me, Claypool still has success against Darius Slay, and obviously those guys were able to draw some penalties on him. But the majority of their splash and crazy bulk plays were either, well, first half we had some penalties and stuff that definitely assisted, but I felt like the majority of the plays that were made were not made on Darius Slay, who was their best guy. It was, okay, Jalen Mills is in a cover, is in a 2-man, so he's in a trail technique safety, bad play right here. Okay, now you got this guy matched him on a linebacker. Okay, that's another splash play. That's a win right there. It's more scheme right now than just flat out, this guy is better than your best guy. That's all I'm saying in terms of why we should just still continue to wait until we can actually see when scheme goes out the window and now it's just good on good, my guy versus your guy. Then we'll know a lot more. But right now, it's like, bro, literally we did this week one. We did this week one with Benny Snell and James Conner. Then the following week it went back to now it was James Conner over Benny. Then it was, is it McFarland? Like, it doesn't have to be the next, like, we don't have to do that. Like, just let it develop. We talked about appreciating greatness with LeBron. Why is it with basketball? We go right back to it, right? Is it Giannis this time? Oh, no, it's Kawhi. Oh, if Kawhi beats them, then it's Kawhi definitely. It's a circle right here, man.
We were appreciating the greatness at the time. Yeah. We did think Snell was the best running back at that point.
So appreciate Claypool, what he did. Great performance, phenomenal performance. Can he continue this? I think he will. Do I think he'll grow into a dominant receiver? I think he will. But I
think he's the best receiver we got. That's what I think. Now, depending on what that means, wide receiver one, league wide or whatever, I think he's the best receiver we got right now, though.
Okay.
I think he proved it from last game.
From a receiving standpoint. He's doing his thing. Receiving, he's running the ball, man, he's getting in. He's doing some everything. I like it.
Yeah.